Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here. Welcome back to another episode of Left 4 Dead 2 Myth Busting Mondays. And in today's video for the final myth, we're going to be testing to see if whether or not that we can get a long shot version of a crown kill on a witch. Normally you would have to barrel stuff the witch in order to end up crowning her. But what if we took a few steps back? What if we were not necessarily right up in her face? What if we were only a few feet? What if we were a couple dozen feet? Or maybe even a few hundred feet, aka across the map, and was able to still get the crown kill regardless? I want to see if whether or not that this is more rather a test of skill and accuracy, or if the shotgun is just completely incapable of doing this. So that's what we're going to be doing at the end of the video. If you guys end up enjoying today's video, please drop a like, subscribe if you are new, and if you have a myth of your very own that you would like to have us test in next week's episode, please by all means leave them here in the comments down below, or you can also leave them within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. With all that being said, guys, I hope you end up enjoying this week's episode of Left 4 Dead 2 Myth Busting Mondays. Myth: can you destroy the church bell spotlights in the Death Toll campaign? Alright guys, myth number 1 is going to be submitted in by Glabersko. So let's start off simple, let's give ourselves a sniper rifle and just shoot up at the light, and so far nothing is happening. Alright, so I'm going to not only fly up there with no clip, but I'm also going to use a grenade launcher this time, and even though I'm doing this instead, the spotlight is still shining. So myth number 1 for today's video is going to end up being busted. You cannot destroy the spotlights, they are something that is left on permanently. Myth: does an adrenaline shot give you a speed boost while in water? Alright guys, myth number 2 is submitted in by Tyler. So the way that we're going to do this is plain and simple. Me and Glabersko are both going to stand right next to each other. I'm going to stick myself with adrenaline, he's just going to be running per normal, and we're going to see who's faster. So here we go, 3, 2, 1, and we're off to the races. And yep, it's very, very obvious that not only am I faster, but the adrenaline shot is doing its job, regardless if it's on land or in water, which means that the second myth is confirmed. You are faster with adrenaline, regardless if you were on land or if you were in water. Myth: if you spawn in over 500 gas cans, will the game crash? Now, we do a lot of crazy things on this channel, and sometimes it results in the game crashing. Now, I am truly curious, how many entities, how many gas cans, how many things being spawned into the game in general can roughly cause the game to crash on a consistent basis? So I want to try to test that here with gas cans. So I'm just going to spam them up to roughly 500 and see if that's the sweet spot where the game starts to end up slowing down enough that it consistently crashes. And I had to speed this footage up because, my god, as soon as I started to spawn in around like 170, the game was lagging horribly bad. Like, I'm the host and I was having over 100 ping pretty much by this point. In fact, it got so bad that when I went to go end up dropping the gas can, I shot some by accident. And this in itself resulted in my game crashing. You guys can see it took me back to my desktop. But I can only end up giving the myth plausible at the very best, despite the fact that it did get at least confirmed for me, because this is going to depend on the connection for every individual person that tries to attempt this themselves. Not a single person in this world is going to have the exact same connection as another, so even though it crashed for me, it might not crash for you. Myth: can you soft lock yourself by throwing the cola out of bounds in dead center? I apologize in advance because I'm probably going to botch your name, but I believe that this fourth myth is submitted in by Kedo. So essentially the myth is, can we break the game? Are we able to troll people if we want to, because I'm assuming that's what you want to know this for, and end up throwing away the Coca-Cola somewhere where nobody can get it? So I'm up for the challenge. Let's try to find a couple of spots where nobody can get the Coca-Cola. So let's try the most straightforward idea first. So we're going to try to throw it out of the map, and it looks like that the map will not let me end up getting rid of the Coca-Cola. There seems to be an invisible barrier sending it back at me. Well, if I can't throw it out of the map, then that means I have to hide it somewhere within the map. So I'm going to try to end up putting it under this tanker truck, but it looks like it won't let me do that either. Now, never in my life have I tried to end up taking it in the opposite direction, but let's try that. Okay, apparently that doesn't work either, because the Coca-Cola will automatically fall out of my hands if I go outside of the gun store. Well, so far I have not managed to find a spot that breaks the game, which I can only imagine is a good thing, but I'm going to end up enlisting a second pair of eyes to end up helping me, just in case I'm overlooking a spot. So I'm going to end up having my buddy Dan look for some spots as well, and he ended up recommending one to me. It's going to end up being in the one closet area where the last stand guns are in Whitaker's gun store, because if you go in here, there's a pair of crates. and I want to see if whether or not that the Coca-Cola will get stuck behind said crates if I throw it up there. And so far, everything's fine. I don't think that this is going to end up breaking the game. You guys can see it's working just fine every time I throw it up there. Uh-oh. Okay, just to double check, we're going to take a shopping cart and bring it back here into this room and see if we can jump on the crates via this shopping cart and get them back out. And it looks like you can, so phew, thank God. You cannot actually soft lock this step because you actually can get the Coca-Cola out this way. Unfortunately, though, this is not practical in the slightest because we're doing this with nothing attacking us. And in the middle of the step, normally, you are surrounded and being attacked by every possible direction by zombies. So even though this technically is busted, you can't soft lock the game. I have to at the very least point out how unpractical this is, and even though this is factually busted, is it really though? Because by the time you get the shopping cart over there to try to save this step, you're basically already dead. Alright guys, final myth time. Let's see if we can get a long shot version of a crown kill on a witch in Left 4 Dead 2. Myth, can you get a long shot crown kill on the witch? Alrighty guys, the last myth is going to be submitted in by Vader. So this is how we're going to test the myth. We're going to spawn in a witch and we're going to end up trying to work our way backwards from a decent amount of distance. Now, that crate that you see that we spawned in there is going to end up being the closest that we can get without actually making the witch want to stand up and attack us. And so we're going to try to end up being somewhere roughly around this distance and see if we can still get the crown kill regardless. We're also going to be using the chrome shotgun to give ourselves the best odds, since this is one of the most accurate guns in the entire game. Now, even from this distance, which is not necessarily that too much farther away, unfortunately we were getting 2-shot kills instead of 1-shot kills. It was taking an extra pump from the shotgun to successfully still kill the witch. So since the shotgun is not as good at farther distances, which is a given, I thought, what if we end up giving ourselves one of the special ammo types and see if that will end up making things better. So let's start with the incendiary round. So we're going to spawn in a witch and end up shooting her with one of these and see if whether or not our odds are better. So when we shoot her with the incendiary rounds, unfortunately this does not work. And now when we switch to frag rounds, excuse me? Like, you guys saw that, right? The witch didn't stumble or anything. She just flat out disappeared. And I have shot the witch with frag round shotguns before, and that's not normal, but I'm gonna work with it right now because I'm curious what's going on about what's causing this. And see, the crazy thing is that I can end up crowning the witch this way, even all the way up to the helicopter pad. Now, just to make sure that this wasn't a fluke, we're going to load up another game and end up using the exact same strategy, frag round shotguns and all. So let's go over to the witch, spawn her in, and see if whether or not we can replicate this again. So here we go, we shot her, and unfortunately, she's not disappearing this time. I don't necessarily know what's entirely going on. Now, luckily for me, Dan actually figured out what was going on about why the witch disappeared in that first game and not in the second game. It is because of this. Dan has made it so that way his game's gore is turned way down by changing the way his game boots up. By having LV in the beginning here, which stands for little violence, this makes it so that way things like body dismemberment doesn't end up happening. And since frag rounds normally cause body dismemberment, anything that gets shot by those types of rounds typically just flat out disappears. And I'm assuming that what happened is that they didn't necessarily change this for the witch because it was just easier to copy and paste this effect on everything. And this explains exactly why the witch ended up disappearing the moment we switched over to a frag round shotgun. So funnily enough, due to a censorship mechanic, it makes it actually easier to kill the witch this way. You can just simply put frag rounds on any shotgun and you can delete her from any distance immediately. Which means that the last myth is actually confirmed, guys. Like, my god, that was something I was not expecting, and it was a freak accident. I would have never in a million years thought to go into the game's boot up settings and turn off the violence feature to attempt to do something like this. That's just insane. So yeah, guys, you can not only end up getting a long shot crown kill on the witch, but you can also instantly delete her if you just choose to end up getting rid of the violence. So yeah, guys, that is it here for today's video, and I do truly hope you guys ended up enjoying it. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. And if you guys have a myth of your very own that you would like to have be featured in next week's episode, please once again leave it here in the comments down below, or also alternatively, you can leave them within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. Guys, we are less than 100 subscribers away from 7,000 subscribers. Like, my goodness, we've been just growing the channel so fast, I can't even comprehend it sometimes. And I have big plans in store for when we do eventually hit 7,000 subscribers. So if you guys could please subscribe, I would be eternally grateful. With all that being said though, guys, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers are ever going to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey meme lords, Jesus here. And you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too. And give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!